Hi, my name is Orondaam Otto, and I am an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
In 2020, when most undeserved children were significantly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, Otto led his team and created the very first virtual learning studio and classroom in Africa, which had seen the continued learning of over 1,000 children via remote learning. Orondaam was named amongst the global 100 most influential people of African descent in support of the International Decade for People of African Descent, proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly. He is a member of the United Nations Global Compact, a member of the Human Capital Development Commission of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, a co-founder of the Education Reform and Innovation Team, and an ambassador for Junior Achievement Nigeria. He is a Leap Africa Social Innovator Fellow, a Common Purpose African Fellow, a Mandela Washington Fellow, and served as the chair of the West and Central African Regional Advisory Board for President Obama's Young African Leaders Initiative, and as well as the founding board member of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. He has been featured as one of the African change makers on CNN African Voices, as well as various international platforms like Forbes, BBC, The Guardian, Business Day, amongst others.
Now, you turned 30 a few years ago, and you had what you called the 30th dream, calling on people to support you. Tell me more about that dream, and did you achieve it?
So it was, I just felt it was a significant year, and I was going to be 30, and the question for me was, what would I love to do, right? Every other year, my friends always surprise me with one birthday, surprise birthday celebration, or with gifts, or something, and I felt that it was a good time for me to actually pledge my birthday, because there was going to be more attention on the fact that it was the beginning of a new decade. And so I asked my friends to support me so we could get 300 children into school. And that was literally a very modest goal back then, but we surpassed that.
Oh, great.
We surpassed it. We raised funds. We got way much more than 300 children into schools, and it was really inspiring and fulfilling seeing that the fact that I did that, almost 40 of my friends, felt compelled to also pledge their birthdays in some way and support us in ensuring that we could get more children into school.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, you've gotten several accolades and recognitions and awards. You've even been named amongst the global 100 most influential people of African descent. What do these nods, accolades, awards, recognition, what do they truly mean to you?
I think for us, and I wouldn't say it's just myself, it reminds us that we're doing the right thing. It reminds us that people are watching, and whatever decisions we make, whatever actions we are taking, inspires lots of people to do the same. And so for us, with or without those recognitions, we are committed to doing what we do because it gives us a sense of purpose. It gives us, a sense of fulfillment, and we are going to continue doing this. We appreciate everyone who watches, who recognizes, who appreciates, and who rewards us, in several ways. And we are committed to ensuring that we continuously provide, the resources and use the knowledge and the competencies we have to ensure that we can build, young people, we can support young people, we can invest in young people and ensure that their potentials are continuously maximized, and the future of our continent and the future of our country as well is secured.
All right. I know that you couldn't have gotten to this point with all the accolades and recognition and, several years journey and, of course, work without its fair share of challenges. What are those critical challenges that you've had to overcome, at Slum2School to make the strides that you've made so far?
So every day we face different types of challenges, and I believe strongly that these are definitely part of the journey. There could be challenges of children dropping out of school because their parents want them to go back to the community to sell or to hawk or to do several other things. There could be challenges even building a unified vision or a unified ideology in certain communities and making them understand the importance of education when their culture, their tradition, or their beliefs do not align with that. It could be challenges even collaborating with certain types of agencies and governments, making people understand that this is actually for the greater good and not for a personal interest. It could be challenges, we've seen challenges raising resources, to scale our impacts, tremendously. And every other day we face new types of challenges, attracting the best people to work on the field or to work in the office. But we're committed to actually the goal and the vision that we have. And when we keep our eyes on that big picture, every other day the challenges just feel like, a regular activity because we always surmount them and come out more successful.
You always surmount them, but have you failed in the course of building this organization? And if yes, what are those failures?
So we've seen instances where we lost children, for example, where we felt we probably could have done more. We see communities where access to healthcare is almost non-existent, and we support, say, 300 children, and then in 2 months we realize that 2 children had died. And these are realities in underserved communities because there's no access to healthcare, there's no access to the right kinds of information, and so every other day we have our team advocating and finding innovative ways to continuously support the communities. We see realities where children drop out of school, and while this is a norm for us, we always want to ensure our retention rates are extremely high. We've seen situations where we failed in certain fundraising campaigns and fundraising goals, but we believe that these are parts of the journey and the experiences we get along the way that keeps us committed, continuously evolving and looking for better ways to create the impact that we strongly desire.
All right, you mentioned fundraising, and I know when you were starting out, it was mostly family and friends. But for a non-profit organization like yours, how do you go about raising funds?
I think it's very important to have a clear vision, right? And make that vision so clear and so plain that every single person who sees it believes in it and owns it. That's one of the critical things we've done. We've made our goal compelling enough that it attracts organizations and partners almost by itself. We spend very little resources actually trying to attract organizations because we've built a credible organization that is impactful and very, very visible. We get almost 90% of the organizations we work with will come to us, and what we are now working intentionally to increase that number by going out to meet several other organizations. Our fundraising strategy, is on four pillars. First, we have individuals, and we have several ways in which individuals can come on board to support us by supporting kids, or supporting programs, or various events, or even administrative activities. We have corporate partners who support several activities that align closely with their own values. One of those very interesting partners we have, I must have mentioned them in the past, is Eat and Go. And they own the franchise to Domino's Pizza, Pinkberry Yogurts, and Cold Stone Creamery. And they decided to imbibe, the work we do into their business model by saying that for every pizza you buy, for every cup of Pinkberry yogurts, or for every, cup of Cold Stone Creamy ice cream, 100 naira or 50 naira is put into supporting the child. And that's been really inspiring because we've seen several other organizations adopting that model. And you go across their stores, over 110 stores across the country, it's right in your face telling you that what you're doing is also creating an impact. And of course, Today, they're supporting over 1,200 children across the country, and looking at scaling that, tremendously. We have corporate organizations, several other organizations like them, and we're continuously working with several partners to increase the work we do across. We also, pride ourselves as a social enterprise. We're not solely dependent on just donations and just grants. We're also continuously looking for innovative ways to generate income. And we put that as well into the strategy that we apply. So we have a factory where we produce our own uniforms for our beneficiaries, rather than outsource that. We train young people in the community and get them into the factory and they sew uniforms for thousands of beneficiaries, and we're also looking at producing uniforms for several other schools and several other institutions. We have a virtual learning studio like we just produced, which several corporate organizations currently use for trainings and virtual conferences and virtual events. We have art pieces drawn by our kids and our beneficiaries, across several, communities, and those are continuously auctioned right here at the Innovation Hub. We have various merchandise as well, and every other day our team is looking for innovative ways to generate income, to ensure that we can cover certain either operational, administrative, or even program costs.
Okay, talking about administrative, of course, you're administering people. So I'm sure there's an organizational structure in place. What does that structure look like today?
For an organization like us to have gotten to the point where it is, with a lot of great impacts, of course, the foundation needs to be very strong. And one of our core values is actually processes. We are very big on ensuring that whatever we do has the best, globally acceptable processes. And firstly, we have a very reputable board that we're even currently expanding and getting an additional 6 members on the board. We have a governance structure. We have board committees. Decisions are made at that level. We have a management team that comprises of professionals as well. We have a management support team. We have staff. And so the structure ensures that we have round pegs and round holes and square pegs and square holes, and decisions are being made, taking into cognizance of the best practices and ensuring that whatever we do is not just impactful, but sustainable.
Okay, so what would you say are those values that are important to the organization?
I think one very important value is actually vision. I think it's very important because so many times your vision could be swayed. You might have an organization that says, we want to give you X amount of resources and we want you to do this. And somehow, because you're interested in the money, you change your costs. We try to ensure that we are very intentional about what we want to do. We focus on impacts. We wouldn't jeopardize standards. We ensure that we have integrity in every process we implement. Of course, accountability is very key as well. So we stay accountable to our stakeholders. And one of the first, set of stakeholders we have are the beneficiaries. We want to ensure that we give them the best. And that's why you see that for every program we have, for every learning center we build, for every school we adopt, we have a standard. We wouldn't say because it's in a slum, let's reduce the quality. We ensure that we provide the best and we maintain the best, standards.
All right, so you've done some work across the continent, right, of Africa. And Africa has been described in many circles as a country. What would you say, in your opinion, unites us? And what are those unique differences from, say, east to west and south and then north of Africa? So
the continent is almost the same. We are one thing that unites us, is our origin. We share the same ancestors, and that's very, very, profound. Nigeria as a country could have been 3 or 4 or 5 different countries, and you find out what makes the northern part of Nigeria so different from the southern parts of Niger. What makes the eastern part of Nigeria different from the western part of Cameroon. What we have are borderlines that actually just separates separates us. But in the real sense, we are the same people. You know, I've been to several parts of the continent and several parts of even countries, and you find several countries with so many ethnic groups. Nigeria has over 250 ethnic groups. People will speak different languages, different cultures, different traditions, different beliefs, you know. And that means we could have been 250 countries. So what makes us different from those in the northern part of the continent or the southern part or the eastern part? I think all we have are borders, and those borders actually define a lot of realities. And what's most important is that we actually look at the humans and find out how we can work together. What unites us? We should focus more on what unites us than what actually, divides us.
So tell me, Orondaam, how has travel and interacting with different cultures added value to your person?
Yeah, so I think traveling somehow just makes you feel small, right? It makes you realize that what you know is extremely limited. I remember the first time, almost 15 years ago, when I traveled to Benin Republic, and then we were going for a program somewhere on the West African coast, and I got into the Republic of Benin, and I literally found myself completely lost. A totally different language, totally different culture, right from the billboards, and it made me realize that all I had known and all I had believed was just limited to the space that I existed in. And that was the first of several countries that I had visited. And every other country, not just at the continental level, but across the world, you realize that there's a new culture, there's a new tradition, there are new beliefs, there are new ways of doing things. And I think it's very important to have an open mind, because so many times we believe or we feel that what we know and what we practice is always the best, from our own religions to our own cultures to our own tradition. But traveling makes you respect the opinions of people, respect the cultures of people, respect the beliefs of other people. It's a very important factor that enables us have a peaceful society, a more united society where we can respect each other's decisions without continuously trying to impose ours on them.
On others.
Yeah.
Oh. So how would you describe your leadership style?
So one thing I strongly believe, or one value I strongly hold, is that everyone is important. Everyone has something to offer. And no one's idea, or no one has monopoly of ideas or knowledge. And it's very important to listen to everyone. It's very important to carry everyone along. It's very important to include everyone, most times, in ensuring that no one's voice is actually left behind. I would say I'm very, not just diplomatic, but very, democratic. I believe that for us to have some level of sustainability, you need to get people to take ownership for the things they do. You need to get people to believe in the things they do, and inspire them continuously to realize that they add value, that their presence matter, and that with them we can achieve more results.
All right, so what are the key skill sets that a CEO needs to either acquire or be blessed with in managing people?
I think one of the first skill set for me is having a clear vision, right? People are attracted most times to vision and not just people, right? And having vision is very important, because sometimes your strategy could differ, but your destination remains the same. That's why you see so many developed nations have multiple, ideologies in various political parties. We want to get people relief, but how do we go about it? But the end goal is providing relief, but the strategy and the ideology, differs. And I feel every CEO needs to have foresight, needs to have clear vision, needs to be inspiring. Continuously people will face challenges, but you need to find a way to pull people together in those trying times and make them understand that the best is yet to come, and the journey is, success is not in the destination alone, but also in the journey that is being taken.
All right. So, what would you say is the biggest letdown you've had in your career so far?
Oh, let down. I wouldn't say I can remember any, because to be honest, I never really keep these things in mind. I feel that they're more of challenges that are normal and are built to be overcome. So I wouldn't say I just wake up every morning and remember, God, in 2006 there was this particular situation that happened, but I can't remember any of those. I just take every experience as an opportunity to learn, and as a springboard to achieve more.
Otto's vision is coming to life. He is seeing that every child and youth, irrespective of their economic or social background, color, origin, gender, and physical or mental ability, is given an equal opportunity and the best chance to quality education to enable them to maximize their potentials and contribute positively to the reformation of the policies that ensure the growth, development, and sustainability of the African continent. We already know he works incredibly hard, but how does he unwind? And what does he do with time away from work? I am eager to find out.
So, I have a few quickfire questions for you. What do you like to eat?
What I like to eat? I think I love beans and plantain.
How would you describe your style?
I think I'm very moderate and I would say pretty minimalist.
Your favorite book of all time?
I think it's the book by Lee Kuan Yew, the leader who transformed Singapore from third world to first world.
All right. So, what book are you reading right now?
It's a book that was written by Barack Obama. We all know it. It's his most recent book.
All right. So, what's your favorite brand to wear?
Yeah, I love Nigerian brands, and I have a few of them who are very close friends.
So, your favorite car to drive?
Again, I'm very modest, and I love strong cars. So I love Toyota, I love the Fords, but the very heavy cars that could go into some of the remote communities and have parts that are not super expensive and super difficult to find.
All right, your favorite travel destination?
Travel. I love every travel experience, right? I wouldn't say I have a specific destination. Every experience I have across the African continent and across the world for me comes with its own unique, highlights. And I've enjoyed every experience I've had traveling to different parts of the world.
All right, so lastly, I'd like to know, what makes you happy?
Seeing others happy.
Thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Orondaam.
Hi, my name is Orondaam Otto, and you too can be an Under 40 CEO.